All right, everybody, we're here with Margaret Hegwood.
Yes.
Like Eggwood, but Hegwood. Yeah. And we're going to talk about you, CrossFit, and all the things.
Perfect.
Thanks for coming. All right, so Margaret joined CrossFit Roots in August of 2024, so just celebrated the 1 year mark. And as always, we're going to put you in the hot seat.
Perfect.
Okay, here we go. Favorite workout?
Sprints on the rower.
Sprints on the rower. Least favorite workout?
Glenn.
Did you have a pull-up when you started at Roots?
No.
Do you have one now?
No.
Did you start with, how many bands did you start with?
I think I started with 2. I think it was a thick green band and a thinner green band. Okay. And now I'm at 1 thick green band.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you believe that one day you will have a pull-up?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe not as fast as I want, but.
Did you believe that when you started?
No.
Favorite CrossFit nutrition prescription approved meal?
Sweet potato protein bowls.
I want that recipe.
Yeah.
Family?
I live with my partner here in Boulder, but most of my family lives in the Midwest.
Awesome. Favorite class time to work out?
4 and 5.
Okay. But she doesn't do 2 workouts of the same workout.
No. Only actually I do on Tuesdays. I do the WOD and then I do Oli, but yeah.
Movement you love the most?
Probably the snatch.
Okay. Awesome. Movement you like the least or know you need to get better at?
The squatting, all forms of squatting. Yeah.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in the Midwest and also on the East Coast. So we lived in Ohio for about 10 years and then 10 years in Connecticut and then back to the Midwest for school.
Okay. And best piece of CrossFit advice you ever received?
Leave your ego at the door.
Boom.
Yeah. But not the big bro, you can lift and do RX ego. I don't like that either. But I mean the ego that says you shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
The ego that says it's not okay to fail. That's what I think of it as.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Okay, well, let's get into it. So let's start with, where do you hail from? We talked a little bit Connecticut, East Coast, Ohio.
Yeah.
How did you get to Boulder?
So I grew up, I finished high school in Connecticut. Then I did undergrad and my master's at Purdue in Indiana. So I was there for 5 years. And then I came to Boulder for graduate school. So I just finished my PhD this spring. And actually in the same department I think that you did your degree in, right? Environmental studies. So I did that. So that's what brought me to Boulder, was school.
Okay. And what's your PhD in?
It's in environmental studies, but the focus is actually on sustainable food systems.
Pretty cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you've been in Boulder since when?
2020.
Okay,
yeah.
So fill in the gap for me. So you're in Boulder,
yeah.
and then you decide to join a gym.
Yeah.
CrossFit Roots.
Yeah.
What were you doing for fitness before then? What was
when you asked me to do this interview, I thought about it. I was like, I have done probably a whole page of fitness attempts before I did CrossFit. So I've done Pilates, I've done yoga, I've done small group fitness, I've done personal training. I'd done the I'm just gonna hike a bunch in Boulder, because that was a big thing. I felt like when I moved here I had to become an outdoorsy person. Yep. What else? I've done spin cycle classes. I've done so many. I did where you pay if you don't go to the gym, healthy wage.
Tell me more.
Yeah, everything before I came to Roots.
Okay.
And I never stuck with any of it. Okay. I think there was a lot of reasons for that. Okay. But I basically got to a point where I was I'm in my late 20s. I'm about to get, last year, I'm about to get my PhD. I'm okay, I have a PhD before I'm 20 years old and I can't stick to a fitness regimen. What is wrong with me?
Before you're 30 and you can't
right.
That's
how I felt.
That's how your brain got to.
I was so disappointed that I could set these professional goals and meet them and not set personal goals and meet them.
That's cool.
And
that's a very cool perspective.
Yeah, and then I was I need to figure out how to do that. And so then I had someone recommend, you should try, go to Roots, look at CrossFit, go there. And, in particular, I was over the, trying to be skinny workout thing where, Pilates and stuff, those are great and they have their purposes in life. But I was I wanted to have fitness goals that were based on fitness, not on aesthetics. And so I came here. I met with Amy. Was like amazed at the size of her traps.
We all are.
Yeah, and it was like, and I remember too. I didn't know at the time that it was Megan Way, but they were like, it was like some oldie lift that day. I don't remember, and it was like loud, and that was like intimidating to me. And I like saw Megan Way like lifting some ridiculous amount of weight over her head, and I was like, holy cow, like that's awesome.
Yeah, you have this like tiny woman just like
right.
flying.
Yeah, it's so cool, and I just felt like okay.
Tiny strong.
Yeah, tiny strong. Yeah, fit. And then I was like, okay, I'll try. Like, what's the worst that can happen?
Okay.
So.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you start CrossFit, and maybe with the expectation or the thought of like, okay, why can't I make something stick?
Right.
So you've got kind of that going on there. So you start with foundations. Who did your foundations?
Lindsay
did your foundations. Awesome. Okay. So you show up for foundations the first time. Yeah. Take me there, like that first session. What'd you feel like driving in here?
Oh, I was terrified. I was terrified for the first 6 months. But not because I thought people would be mean or like, I felt so out of place. Okay. Right? Like, I didn't see myself as an athlete. I definitely didn't think I was fit. Like, I saw all these other people like doing these cool things that I thought I would never be able to do or like know how to do. And I think there's also like an element of almost being like embarrassed, right? That like, I'm in my 20s and I'm not as fit as like these people in their 50s and 60s, right? Like there was definitely some of that. But I mean, Lindsay's great, like, and awesome. And she was the first person, I think, in a really long time, maybe ever, who said like, yeah, you're strong. Like, even when I started, and that made a really big difference because I didn't think of myself like that. And yeah, I'm definitely stronger now than I was then. But also like having someone say that and be like, yeah, you can do this. Totally. Like was really awesome.
So do you think those things now? Like
that I'm an athlete?
Do you think you're an athlete? Do you think that you are strong? Do you think that you are like, are you still intimidated when
I mean, I think I'm definitely less intimidated than I was. I think the open was a big, like, especially socially, like coming in. And
so let's see, you joined in August. Yeah. So then you had
like 8 months.
Like 8 months, and then the open happened. And did you sign up for the open willingly, or did we like convince you?
Mostly willingly, but I was a little nervous. Like Amy was like, you should do it even if you're nervous. She's like, my biggest regret is I didn't do it my first year. And I was like, okay. And I think I definitely see myself as an athlete, and I think of coming here as training. Like, and I think of, totally. Which is like, I think awesome because for me, like the mental shift of that is like, I'm not coming in just to burn calories. Like I'm coming in because I have a goal. And sometimes I think, and this is where like the L1 was really useful, which I know we'll get to later, but like the psychological aspect of like working at your psychological limit too was really important to me. So like, for example, like Lindsay knows, probably Dave knows too, like I'm like terrified of jumping on a box. like I'm really afraid, and like I like, and so like sometimes I know like in a workout, like, okay, like today this workout is not about me doing 100 box jumps. It's about me doing 50 or 60 in like an AMRAP and feeling like I can jump on a 20-inch box confidently. So even if I only get 5 rounds and everyone else gets 8, like that 5 rounds was at the limit of like my psychological like capability.
So having like a training focus for each day. It's not just like jump on the box. It's like, no, we're going to jump on the box with an intent to like build some confidence.
And not feeling bad about that. Because I think originally I felt bad. I was like, I know like probably I could do the 100 box jumps like physically. It's just like mentally getting over that. And then like also having a coach who like there was a workout, like especially when it's like box jumps and squats, for example, right? Because you like you go to jump on the box and your like, quads are and like we had a workout where it was like a bunch of wall balls and a bunch of box jumps. And Lindsay was like, I think you should do the 20-inch box. And I was like, okay, like like, and at the end, like I did it, right? Great, awesome. And she's like, I'm really proud of you. Like she knows that was hard for me, right? And like that makes a big difference to me. It's like one sentence she probably doesn't even remember, but like for me, like having coaches that know that you're working on something like that is really awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
It's super awesome.
Okay, so you do foundations, you do your first session.
Yeah.
You're like, you make it in the door.
Right.
And you're like, I'm nervous, but we're going to do this.
Totally.
And then you did your 4 foundations. What were those first 3 months like? How many times a week did you come? What was the soreness like?
Yeah.
What was the like, I'm coming back the next day? Like what?
Yeah.
Like what made you keep just checking the box?
Yeah.
Not that you checked the box because you worked hard when you got in here.
Right.
But what made you check the box of getting in the door?
Getting in. Yeah. I think I was coming around 4 times a week in the beginning.
Did that feel like a lot?
Yeah. I mean, I went from basically nothing to CrossFit.
And so why 4?
I read the website and it said 3 wasn't enough, so I was like, I'm gonna do 4.
This is great. This is great. The PhD academic mentality here was really paid off. It did. Oh, I do this? Okay, I just do what it says here.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And I totally read all the stuff, and because I'm a scientist, and like having more information makes me feel better. Sometimes it stops me from like I have to stop overthinking, but that's a separate thing. So I was coming in, I was definitely sore. Some workouts more than others, like. There was a lot of skill things that took a long time, like all the different types of power, like cleans and jerks and like snatches. And then I was definitely sore sometimes. I mean, especially like body weight stuff, you know, like lots of air squats. I mean, I remember like getting through the warm up was hard actually a lot of the time. And I think the big thing that helped me keep coming was like I think I felt like I had to work like so hard every time, or like I have to be proud of my workout that day or whatever. No, and like the reality is like sometimes you leave the gym and it feels awful, like like you're like,
this is true,
that sucked, you know, like it sucked, I didn't do well, I'm mad at this or this or this, and I realized like actually what I had to tell myself when I left the gym is like I took care of myself today. That like even if the workout was awful, even if it was great, even if I was dumb and screwed up, I don't know. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I took care of myself.
And so in those 3 months, when did that sense of accomplishment set in where it's like, so there are the days where you leave and you're like, that was so hard. Yeah. And like, how am I supposed to go back and do that tomorrow? Or, oh my gosh, I can't string together toes to bar. Like, that's just not there. Like, when did the days of like I'm feeling accomplished or that start happening?
I don't know. I feel like maybe it was a little bit more like closer to maybe 6 months in for me, when I was definitely getting stronger. And, you know, I had added, like I told myself in the spring after going to in like January, after going to the athlete like kickoff, that I was going to work on my squats. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing Oli because we're doing snatching, squatting. And then strength was in a squat cycle. And I started getting stronger, right? Like getting through the warm up got easier, right? Like that it was a warm up, not a workout, like, you know, for me anymore. Cause like I couldn't string together 20 air squats. Like, I mean, that was where I was when I started. And now I'm like, okay, I can do that.
Yeah. You can do 100 in a row right now.
Yeah, totally. And I think also like being able to look at the board and being like, I know like this number seems big. Like sometimes like when it's like a bunch of like rounds in a row, I'm like, I can do that. Like it might be hard, but like I can do 160 air squats in this workout, you know? And I think too, like getting PRs really helps, right? Like my deadlift went up like insane. And like some of that is
So let's talk about that. Cause you said something that stood out where you were like, I knew I was getting stronger.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you know that?
Definitely tracking. So I put every workout in Sugar WOD.
Okay. So where did your your deadlift, where did you start with your deadlift?
My deadlift, when we did like a deadlift cycle in strength in November, was like 170. In March, I had a 205. Or no, in the summer I had 205. In March, I had 200 deadlift.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. And like when I started too, like I remember, and like Eric, he told me the other day, he's like, every time I see you squat, it's like amazing. Because he was the first person I back squatted with, like in my first 2 weeks. And he was like, I couldn't barely squat 100 pounds. You know, and of course I felt terrible about that. And I was like, oh my God, you know, like, and now like my squat's like 135, 140, but it's just better. Like I'm
talk about that. Cause like, yes, you kind of had the like hips up. Yeah. Good morning, unfold. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So like, how has your squat changed and how like, and that's a big relearning process.
Totally.
Like a commitment to saying like, you know, yes, you've got the coaches that are like, no, we're not going to go up. But like, there was also, you took a ton of responsibility for that and said, like, this is the lane I'm going to stay in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a big part of it was one, like the dedicated strength class of like doing the squat cycle really helped with Lindsay, especially because I think it's nice to see a person, like I think of Lindsay as like a person, she's taller, like me, you know, and she's really strong, and like maybe we have some of the same like long femur problems, you know, because I just didn't even have the body awareness to know that I was squatting correctly or incorrectly. And now at least, even if I'm doing it wrong, I know I am. I just have to like get to a point where my brain can like tell my muscles like to stop doing that, which I think just takes time. But in the beginning, like I just didn't even know what I was doing wrong.
It takes time. Like you can learn it, and then you have the coaches remind you, and then there's sort of this like forced, we're gonna stay in this. But then the next wave is like, oh, I'm being held into this lane, but now I can feel when it's starting to change position.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's a big thing too, is like building, like knowing like, oh yeah, my right arm's weaker than my left arm. My right leg is weaker than my left leg, you know, like, and focusing on that, and like having Amy knows that. She's like, hey, like, you know, focus on pushing through your right leg in this workout because you're going to not do that, you know, like that kind of thing. And then just practice.
Okay, so you made it through the first 3 months. Made it through. We kind of talked about like it took about 6 months for you to feel like you made it. How far along did you take the level 1? Was that like 8 months in?
It was in April, so I guess like 9 months.
Okay. Yeah. So I remember you came up to me and you were like, "What's the level 1?"
Right.
Why did you
want to take it?
And I can kind of link things of like, okay, scientists, like the academic approach, want to know the methodology, but from someone who was like maybe a little apprehensive about taking foundations to now say like, I'm going to go to the level 1. Like the horse's mouth, heart of it all.
Absolutely.
Only the hardcore people go to the level 1.
Maybe.
No, but like that's a big jump. Why?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the desire to learn more, and like I think also knowing that it was at Roots with people that I knew, like you and Jenny. I was like, okay, this will be the best of the best. Like doing the L1, right? Like, and I think too, I thought of it as like, you know, I was in this phase where I'm like applying for jobs, maybe leaving Boulder, who knows where I'm going to be
Not
next.
An option. Yeah, but that's fine.
Like, and I was like, I need to be able to suss out, like, if there's a good gym, right? Like a good box. Like, that's what I thought to myself. Or worst case scenario, because I don't know, maybe we end up somewhere there isn't a gym. I want to be able to do it for myself. Okay. You know, like at least be able to like knowing how to scale, which like I was learning slowly, but like the intended stimulus of a workout and like those kinds of things.
Look at you, just stimulus.
I know, right? Yeah. I'm all into
intensity.
Well, like for example, like last Friday I was out of town and I was like, okay, but it's my 1 year. Like I have to do the WOD, right? It's like pistol squats, like, and pull-ups and burpees. And I'm like, okay, I have no pull-up bar at home. Okay. I have no box to like scale pistol squats. But I'm like, I think I know how to do this. I have 20-pound dumbbells. I can do bent over rows for pull-ups. And I can just like do modified pistol squats off my parents' deck, which is what I did. And then I'll do all the burpees because I know the other stuff maybe isn't as hard as it could be.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so like being able, and I feel good doing that because it helps me be consistent. Right. Because if I like fall off the horse for like too long, then I start to get like, you know, you make excuses where you're like, or maybe not excuses, but like it's harder for me to get back on.
Right. Yeah. And it does, that whole thing of like, you know, you could pick, you know, if you pick any one day or any 1 week in a person's trajectory for like 3 years, like it's the accumulation.
Exactly.
Of that. So was it perfect? No. But did you feel better?
Totally.
When you did it?
Yeah. And I was like, I just did the next day. Yeah. I just did 120 burpees on my parents' deck. Yeah. Like, and
your parents like, what is she doing?
Yeah. I think they're really happy for me. Like,
good. They should be.
Yeah. It's cool. I think my family is not necessarily like a family that grew up like doing, my mom did like some things like in front of the TV, like video workouts. Yeah, like
standing legs, or what was it called?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
There was definitely leg warmers involved.
and the big VHS tapes.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah. And you know, like I think a lot of it too, like my motivation was like, I don't want to be, you know, in my 50s and my 60s like some people that I know and feel like can't move.
Right.
you know, like,
no, it's very real.
Yeah, it's super real. Yeah. And like the more I think we learn about, like, you know, me as a scientist, the more we learn about health and longevity and all that kind of stuff. Like this, like I've been reading the Unbreakable book, and I'm like, this is basically CrossFit. Like I'm like flip, CrossFit. Okay, like do some jumping, lift some heavy stuff at high velocity. Like I'm like, great, doing that. Check. You know, like which was a good feeling. I was like, you know, I like told Amy, I was like, I took her a little quiz to see like, quote, how unbreakable I am. And I was like, I'm doing good, you know, like I'm not great. I have things to work on,
We all do.
but like, yeah, I'm like passing the test, you know, which is awesome. So
that is awesome.
Yeah.
We'll put that we'll link to that book.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. So we kind of talked about the level 1. So let's talk about that. So you go to the level 1, what did you get out of it? Like what did it from a training perspective, from a perspective, like how you view CrossFit in your life?
Yeah.
What did you get out of it?
Well, I mean, even though it wasn't quite one-on-one, I loved that like for an hour and a half, I got like advice on my squat, advice on my deadlift, you know, like all these things that, I get in class too, but it's like nice, even like, I mean, I was sore.
Yes. Moving with a PVC pipe for 3 hours actually is pretty darn
like the next day, like with Taylor, she was like, I'm sore too, you know, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to get through this workout today. Like, you know, so that was really great. Just that like really intense, like what should a good squat really feel like? Right. I think it's nice to also like, I wasn't really there to like know as much about like coaching other people, but it's still useful because you learn a lot by watching other people. And that's also why I mean there's great athletes at all times of day obviously, but like I love coming to like the 4 and 5 p.m. because I get to watch these people. I'm like, oh my god, like I want my feet to move like Leah's, like when she snatches, or like you know, all these kinds of things. And so that was just like reinforced. And I think too, the big takeaway of like working at your physical and psychological like limit in the workout, kind of like I mentioned earlier, like with the box jumps, like sometimes that's what it is for me in the workout, you know, or like, like one a great example is like double unders for me. Like I have a double under, I don't have like 10 in a row. I can do like single doubles. Not yet. Yeah. Okay. And you know, sometimes like the workout is just, it's a chance for me to practice that. And that's fine, right? Like, you know, maybe I don't get, again, as many rounds, but like I'm practicing in the workout something that from a skill perspective is hard for me. And that's great that like there are opportunities to do that. And I think it made me feel less, it took away some judgment from myself, I think, because I'm really hard on myself. Like, you know, like, you know, I have high expectations for myself. Like I want to be the best at everything I do. And like, you know, like, not to say I'm not good at CrossFit, but it's something where like I fail a lot. Like I tell people I'm like microdosing failure. That's how I explain it. Like building my tolerance for it, because, you know, I come in and like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do a pike push-up off a box. I don't, you know, like all these things. And like, that's hard when you're a perfectionist and you've like had a lot of, you know, like I've been lucky to be very successful in like other parts of my life. And I had to like push through that. And I think the L1 like reminded me that like, like scaling, like, I mean, I knew this, but like scaling is good. like it's okay, you know?
Progression to get to the
exactly. Yeah. And like, I think the other thing too is like, I've more recently kind of adopted, like, I'd rather fail upwards, you know, than like let's say I choose like 25-pound dumbbells in a workout and like, okay, maybe that was too much. Like I'm doing too small sets. Like I'd rather have that happen, I think, than like pick 10s and be like, you know, like, right. Like failing upwards. Like not that there's anything wrong with the other option either, but like it's, maybe there is, I don't know. Like I'm not pushing myself. Like I'd rather fail and take too long or get like too few rounds because I tried something that was harder than like I was ready for than like the opposite.
Yeah, and I mean, you obviously have the backdrop too. Like, if you grabbed 45s, the coaches are gonna be like,
right, yeah,
maybe not
today, and
right?
sometimes, right, like I like that. I know, like sometimes, like, because now I'm at this point where like I had what I was using for the first 8 months, and now I'm like, okay, maybe in this workout I should do this and like try this, and so, and the coaches know that too. They're like, no, Margaret, like you should do the real bar, like, you know, like
the 15 bar is no longer,
no longer, and so that's really good.
And then from a, like, did anything about the level 1 or the methodology surprise you? Or was it like, oh, I never really thought about this part, like the definition of fitness? Because you said something in the beginning, you said, you know, your fitness goals are based on fitness, not aesthetics, right? And so, you know, part of the big, you know, defining moments there in the level 1 is, you know, we define fitness in CrossFit. Was that surprising to you, or like did it pull things together? You're like, oh, this is like the thing that I've been, you know, I'm not looking for this aesthetic goal. I want to be strong, but I also want to be able to do this, and I want to be able to do this, and that
Yeah.
Did it pull anything together in that sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that's nice about having a definition is that it's measurable.
Right.
Right? Like, I can see my fitness. I actually tried before this to make my own power versus time curve. But the running one was a little hard. But, like, for example.
Running's hard to measure power.
Yeah, but, like,
by time.
yeah. But, for example, like, my deadlift going up or, like, my squat is a good one. Or, like, I haven't done as many of the benchmark workouts still. But, like, I've been doing Ellen for my, like, girl workout.
Yeah.
And my Ellen time is like so much better, right? Like I went from like 14 minutes to 12 minutes. Then I went up in weight and like up in time, but now I'm doing 20s instead of 15s.
Right.
So like,
oh, isn't Ellen thrusters and snatches and burpees?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's like that. Literally, guys, that's the best hotel workout ever.
Yeah, it is.
You can always find a dumbbell, and it's just like,
yeah,
okay, let's go.
And that's also, and I picked it because I was like, okay, I don't like squatting, so I should do some squatting.
Right.
And like, I know that like burpees are hard for me. Like I don't hate them, but I know
you gotta go up and down a long way.
Yeah, you gotta go up and
tall.
Yeah, that's true. I'm 6 feet tall.
Tall.
So like, yeah, and I think like that having that helps me like focus more on like how I feel, how my performance is, rather than just how I look. Like obviously I've had aesthetic benefits too, but
right,
like,
we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So I think that you just, I mean, that I think is really powerful in the sense of when you focus on results, it's very measurable.
Yeah.
When we go the aesthetic route, it's very hard to define that. But I think also, too, as a human, like, you want to be able to hike, but you also want to be able to pick heavy things, and you also want to be able to sprint, and you like sprinting. Yeah. But how do you pull it all together? Yeah. So, okay, the aesthetic side. So there's working out. You know, you mentioned like you don't come in to think like I'm burning calories, but obviously, you've had some body composition changes. Totally. You can share, however much you want to share.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
but what have those been over the past year?
Yeah. So, in terms of that, I mean, I think like probably like a lot of people and like a lot of women, right? Yeah. Like I have done in the same way I tried every fitness thing, I've tried every diet thing. Right?
Yep.
And when I started, I was like, I'm just going to start with coming to the gym. Like that alone had benefits, like in terms of my body. And then I was like, I'm going to start eating 10 ounces of protein at lunch. And like, because I'm a big person.
With a chicken breast on a
fork. Yeah, I was like, I'm eating like a whole chicken a day. Like, oh my God, basically like, but I, and over the year, so I've lost 25 pounds of body fat.
Dude.
Yeah. Which is awesome. And I've kept it off that time. Like I haven't gone I'm getting to a point now where like it's stagnating a little and maybe I need to change some things.
Okay.
But like it hasn't been like, oh, I lost 10 pounds, I put back on 10 pounds and like, that kind of thing. It's been like, oh, like it's been going down, right? Which is awesome. My cholesterol's down 20 points.
Amazing.
Yeah, which is really cool because I got a blood test before I started and then again this summer.
You are a scientist.
I totally am. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to track everything. I put on like roughly 5 pounds of muscle. That seems to deviate more. I think some of that too, like this summer, like traveling, it's been my protein goal in a day is 170 grams.
Great.
That's like a lot of protein. So traveling is harder for me to like meet that.
But you traveled a lot this summer.
Yeah.
And you didn't see like everything
fall apart.
Off.
No.
So there's your sick wall fitness continuum, right?
Exactly.
Like you're moving the needle.
Exactly.
And now the needle's sort of like honed in this range.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone, you're right there with everybody. Summer travels,
right. Yeah,
you miss a week here or there.
Yeah.
But you get back in, you can move it back to where you want to take off from pretty quickly.
Totally. Yeah. And like, I think it's good. Like, it's good. I had a check with Amy yesterday, where I did my body scan or whatever. And she's like, yeah, Margaret, like 3 days out of a whole year, like it's okay,
totally.
And I need to hear that because I'm like too like anal about that maybe, but, and also because my whole life, like I've sort of typecast myself or been typecast by other people as like a larger woman who like doesn't feel like comfortable with being the size that she is, especially being tall, like too, just like always like growing up. I mean, I was probably 6 feet tall by the time I was like 16, right?
Oh, wow.
So so like, and like, just like learning to feel like this body is not something to be ashamed of. It's something that's really powerful, right? And like knowing, and like having those moments, and I have those here, which is so awesome. I'm like, fucking killed it today. It's really good. Like there was a workout where like usually on the rower I go too hard too fast, and like we had like 8 sprints for a minute workout, and I was like, okay, Eric, like I really want to like not do that. Like, I don't want to die. Like,
okay.
And I got the same number of calories in every single, like, as the number of whatever points, right? Like,
not burning calories.
Yeah, not burning calories. Yeah. like out, on the rower, output. And the whole workout. Like, and I was like, just pushing it enough where like, I knew that like, this was good. And I was like, fuck yeah. Like, like that's awesome to feel that way and be like, I'm getting better at pacing. Or like the other day with the run, row workout, I was like, okay, this is another great example. 6 minutes of rowing. Like, I can do 2 minutes all out and then I'll die.
Oh yeah, that workout was awful.
Yeah. I didn't mind because, between the 2 rows, like running's hard for me, but in between 2, but I was like, I was only off like between like 50 meters between the 2 rows. I was like,
amazing.
That's awesome, right? Like that I can I know my body well enough now that I can know how to push it, that I'm working hard, but also like get it, like doing it for a longer period of time.
Yeah, right. Like finding that balance where you're not mailing it in because you don't want to fail, but then you're also not like going off the rails too soon.
Yeah.
Well, and then also too, like, we didn't really talk about this, but yes, so there's a lot of things in CrossFit that we're not good at, but there are things that as a tall person, right? Like that are more in your wheelhouse.
Totally.
And so do those days kind of like, in relation, it's like the cookie where it's like, okay, I did the stuff that I'm not good at this week, and now comes this row workout, and it's like, yes.
Yeah. It feels good to have your name on the top of the whiteboard, right? Like, and
did you ever think that would happen?
No, absolutely not. I was like, I'm going to be scaled at the bottom of scale for the rest of my life. And being able to say like, deserve is maybe a strong word, but like, I worked hard for that. And I did the workout well, and I have this like huge lever advantage when it comes to being tall on the rower, right? But like, it's still just like, I'm not just like sitting there rowing a 1300 like pace, like casually, like I'm working hard, so I think, that's very motivating to have that and to have other people know that, right? Yeah. Like when we were doing like some like row burpee row something like with a partner, and like I'm on the rower and like Leah and Taylor like, fuck yeah, Margaret, this is your thing, like do it,
and for them to recognize that, right?
I never had anybody do that for me before in a fitness setting.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah. So then talk about that a little bit, because you said something like you want to move your feet like Leah, like there is an element with women, maybe with men too, but we can talk about it from a women's perspective. Like how did it feel like initially, being around other women that are doing and being like intimidated to then sort of making this shift to be like, I want to move my feet like that woman, and it being like an aspirational thing, not like I feel ashamed or I feel like not like I'm up there. Like what was, how was that like in class? And I know you've got like buddies in class now and stuff, but like what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely in the beginning it was very intimidating. I mean, I think some of it is, just getting to know people like through the open. I felt like that was really nice because, you're more intentionally like partnered with someone who's judging you or like, counting your reps or whatever, which was really nice, and like the social stuff. I think too, like realizing that different people are good at different things, and like, nobody's good at everything in the gym. I mean, maybe Dave, but even Dave has stuff to work on. I'm sure, right?
Relative to everybody, they've got stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And like actually, even Dave and I were talking the other day during Fran. He was like, I was like, like my squat just takes more time. He's like, mine too. Like if I squat next to someone like Amy, like I said, like literally, like right, it's just different.
That's a good point. I mean, for Dave, that is absolutely, but he knows that too, right? Like
exactly, and so it's like nice to know that other people have goals and like are working towards things, and to just be around people that are like just like being in that environment where people are like trying to constantly improve, even if it's micro improvements like how I pull on my clean or like my double unders or I don't know, whatever it is.
But I think that's a lot of what we try to reinforce is that these changes don't happen overnight. And I know people use the phrase like 1% better every day or whatever your metric is, but nobody goes from 0 double unders one day to like, I can string together 100 consistently in every workout, right? Exactly. So like when you really break it down, it is saying I'm committing, like in the workout the other day or the skill work of like, I'm committing that my toes to bar, whatever option I do, I'm getting 3s. I'm not doing 1 and then some kips in between, or I'm not doing a single at a time, Totally. And upping the ante just like that tiny little bit at a time, it's hard in the moment, but then when you look back at it where you're like, well, I was on 2 bands, or, you know, that's where it kind of comes together.
Yeah, I think so. And I do think that, you know, coming here versus like, and not to like shame other like fitness pursuits. Like, I mean, I actually like Pilates and those kinds of things, but like,
okay, you can say that.
Yeah, I do like it. But like, you know, it's more like,
maybe not F45.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but
good.
Yeah, but you know, it's like you cultivate a culture in a gym, in a CrossFit gym,
anywhere.
A Planet Fitness, anywhere. Sure. And like, I never, like, because I think of my body, like, you know, going through, like, thinking about it, I didn't feel like when I'm on a reformer, like, oh, like, I feel really big, you know, like, just like out of place, like, you know, I'm this tall woman, like, who doesn't fit this, like, maybe stereotype of this type of athlete. Whereas here, I feel like, being tall can be like celebrated in a way and seen as like it's not an advantage for everything, but it is for some things. And like, you know, that is useful to like have that feel like it's not something that's like wrong with my body, if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense. And I think just going a little bit out there where it's like, and going back to that definition of fitness, I mean, if we want to be as strong as we are able to run, we are able to jump, as we are able to be flexible, there, by definition, certain body types are going to be better at some things other than than others. And I think what is nice is that that's also delivering on work capacity and our fitness. Yeah. But also then when you look at other disciplines of how people want to burn calories or get fit, a lot of times you're either good at the thing or you're not, but then you're sort of forcing yourself into it because that's how you're going to do your fitness program. And we talk about it a lot with with just even our youth athletes. Like a lot of kids, you know, by the time they're in middle school or high school, it's like you're either a soccer player or you're a skier or you're this. And it really, if you become not good at soccer is just not your thing. It's like, well, what do I do with my body? It's like, hey, no, there's this whole world out there that actually delivers on using your body.
And it's very, I mean, and it is actually very transferable. Like I was just like in the airport, right? Like, I'm going to run up these steps to catch my plane and I'm not even worried about it. You know, like double the steps, beat the escalator, right? Like I carried my cousin's daughter who's like 65 pounds up a mountain in Vail. Like, and my dad was like, you're going to do that? And I was like, yeah, this is nothing. Like she's 60 pounds. Like I know I can carry that, right? Like those kinds of things where it's like, I'm not worried. Or like I was just seeing my family and my nephew. I took him to the park. He's like, let's play tag. I was like, great. I can sprint after you. Yeah, totally. Like if anything, I'm going to crush you because
like the Peyton Manning and the SNL skit.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. You know, like, and like that feels good to feel like I can like actually call on my body to do these things in everyday life.
And did you feel like you had that power when you were doing Pilates only or when you were doing yoga or not yoga?
No, I mean, I remember like before I started last summer, I went on a hiking trip to Yellowstone. Okay. And we did like 10 in the Tetons. We did 10 miles in the Tetons. And like, I did it. It was fine. But it was like I think my hip flexors and my glutes were so weak, like I couldn't lift my right leg up the next day. And I was like, I'm 27 years old. Yeah. Like this should not be a problem for me. You know, like I shouldn't like be like limping essentially the next day after doing this. And like, I mean, some of it's fear, right? Like, and some of it's like, you know, like, okay, like I need to figure this out. Like, and yeah, it's very nice to do. Like now I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Maybe I'm not like the fastest, you know, like 10-mile hiker out there, but like I'm going to do it. Like I'm not worried about it, you know? Which is a good feeling.
Totally, for sure. That is a good feeling. We kind of went a loophole or a roundabout on the nutrition side. So are you doing something other than eating a 10-ounce chicken breast on a fork at lunch?
I don't really do that quite now. Like I do.
Which, by the way, I'm not saying there's actually anything wrong with that at all.
Yeah, it does feel like a lot. Yeah.
So you said you started working out. Something actually that I just remembered. You started working out, and then somewhere in 3 months you decided to drive down to Denver to cheer on all the Roots athletes.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, is that Margaret? Oh my God, this is awesome. That was awesome.
I don't know. I just wanted to go because I felt like I wanted to see what it was about. And like, you know, I think another big thing that happened after that was Lindsay was like, you could totally do this next year. Yeah. And I was like, no. like, I don't know. Like, and maybe like I looked at the workouts like from last year actually recently and I was like, well, I I could do some of that. Maybe not all of it, you know, but like maybe it doesn't matter. Like
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It helps you. I mean, it's like these defined like little leaps, right? And maybe you can't do everything in the competition, but you go, you have the experience. There is a motivating element. There are breakthroughs that happen. And that sort of sets the tone for training for the next 2, 3, 5, 6 months.
And also like to see your coaches, like not only doing that obviously, but like in class, right? Like also learning things, also scaling things, right? You know, like that is also nice to see. Like it's not just people like me who are new that are scaling. Like everybody does it. Right? Yeah.
Scaling. Eric and I were having this conversation. We're gonna get Eric on the podcast at some point.
Okay, great. Yeah,
whatever
he's
this
awesome.
Is.
Yeah,
our chats. We'll do an athlete spotlight there. But we were talking about the same thing about just like scaling and relative intensity and being able to really own that is like a very powerful thing for your ultimate fitness and your work capacity.
Totally.
Okay, so chicken breast
nutrition. Yeah. Okay, so I started eating like just a lot like more protein at lunch sometime in the fall. Because did
you read something? Did you see something?
I think so. Something like even like I think some of it was just like I knew I needed more protein. I wanted to build muscle. I think that was probably the big thing. I was like, okay, protein, muscle.
How much protein were you eating ballpark a day before?
Oh, before?
Yeah, like before you started.
Oh God,
on the chicken breast lunch diet.
80, like
80. Okay, so roughly less than half of what
my goal is now. Okay. Yeah, and that goal like came when I did the Not a Challenge Health Challenge with Amy.
Yeah.
And then I probably in the spring, because also I was defending my dissertation, so I was like, okay, my biggest goals are like
protein.
No, I was honestly like my biggest goals are like keep working out, finish PhD. Like that was what I told myself.
Good goals.
Yeah, I was like those, and I knew that I had to be really on it because I was going to be super stressed at work.
Yep.
So I started doing a bunch of like meal prepping in like February probably, where I was doing like I have this cookbook. It's called Self Health. I don't know if you've heard of this guy. No. Yeah, he's great. It's like crock pot meals, right? You get 10 of them, and like I don't mind. I'll eat the same thing for lunch or dinner. My partner, he's like not as thrilled, but like that doesn't bother me. And so then I just started doing that, and I was trying to get closer to like 140 probably.
Okay.
And then in this like spring when we did the Not a Challenge, like Amy was like, I think you should shoot for 170.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's hard. I mean, that's a lot of protein, right? I have to get at least 50 grams at every meal.
And did you notice a difference?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I definitely put on more muscle when I started eating more protein, right? Like probably like between like November and March was like my biggest like muscle gain, I would say, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah. But I definitely
5 pounds of muscle while also losing 25 pounds of fat is, I mean, that's dramatic.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I think there was also part of me that is like afraid of like, right? Like, like when people lose weight, they lose muscle. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I don't want that because I have these performance goals, right? In the gym, like, that I don't want those to go down, right? So like, I think that, and now I think more, it's just a consistency battle for me where like, when I'm at home and it's just, me like making my own food, it's easier, right? But, you go out to eat with someone or you go home for the weekend or whatever, like those things tend to get like, they're hard for me, but like I'm getting better at it,
Yeah, at some point it's not learning what to eat, it's learning, okay, what's the habit I create around traveling? What's the habit I create around eating out with a friend? Yeah,
and I think too, like as a person who has essentially yo-yo dieted forever, and unfortunately, even when I was like, basically a kid in high school, right? Like I am I don't want that to happen again, and like I know how that feels, and so I was like, I knew that I couldn't think about it as a diet. I had to commit to it, like, am I willing to eat this way for the rest of my life? Yeah. Right? Like, like, am I willing to like eat this every day for breakfast or like not every day, but like, have this goal at breakfast every day and like those kinds of things. And also like being flexible enough that like, 3 days, is not going to make a difference, or like, and sometimes the social goals are more important, right? Like I'm not gonna like not eat cake at my nephew's birthday, right? Like those kinds of things.
You don't have to eat 3 pieces.
Exactly, which is like that's who I was before, like and I mean I went through like I could tell you, I mean like very big phases where like I started college, I was pretty active in high school, started college, like was doing engineering degree, basically wasn't active at all. Did not gain freshman 15, more like freshman 50. Okay, and then like hated that. Basically went on a like 1,200 calorie diet, which was really bad for me. Like at how large I am and how like tall, like, and how like I was working out. Like I had a trainer at the time, like a personal trainer, and I was working out with that person like probably like 4 days a week and eating 1,200 calories. Like, of course I lost a lot of weight. Yeah, it was great. But then I was just like,
not a recipe for success.
Yeah, no, it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And so I like went through this like thing where like, and then, you know, trying every diet and everything and like realizing that like, yeah, I mean, maybe it's always something that because like I had a sort of messed up relationship with food for a long time that I'll have to deal with, but also like figuring out how to slowly break that. Like when I started eating a lot of protein at lunch, I was like, I'm so full. Yeah. Like I would come to class at 5 and I'd be like, I'm actually not that hungry. Like, which was a huge change for me. I was always hungry. Like, you know, like, growing up, I just always felt like I couldn't eat enough. And like, I don't know what that was, but like, yeah, I think that made a big difference. And also the idea of like adding food to your diet rather than just taking everything away.
Fueling your performance.
Right. Yeah. Is a huge mindset shift that was scary actually, but
scary then
the idea of like
liberating,
eating more. Yeah. And then liberating. Yeah, for sure.
So, okay. So your protein almost doubled.
Yeah.
What would you say about just, what are the things that, like, give me an example of what maybe you used to eat for dinner versus what you're doing now? Like, is it your carbs are down? Is it that your processed foods are changed? Is it that...
Probably, like, less eating out would be a big one.
Yep.
Definitely, like, probably more consistent. So, like, there were days when, like, I wouldn't eat enough, probably. And then, you know, enough days of doing that in a row, you get so hungry that when you eat out, you just go all in. And then, like, this creates this, like, cycle.
It's up and down.
Probably for breakfast, I was doing, like, as, like, an example, maybe, like, 2 eggs and some toast, which, like, it's not terrible, but it's not great. Like, certainly not enough. Now I have a protein shake at breakfast with egg whites, which makes me feel like a hardcore person, but like,
it is
you know,
hardcore.
but it's like 50 grams of protein and I feel really good after I have it because I'm full, you know, like, and I am not like hungry by 10 o'clock. And also where I was working for a long time in like an office, especially when I was at Purdue, like who I worked with these wonderful women, but you know, they're moms, they want to feed you. They're bringing in cookies and cupcakes. And you know, when you're not full and then that's available to you, you go ham on it.
Right.
And like, it's just, so like, I think those kinds of things were like, I think I just, now I'm more consistent. I'm less like snacky. And probably less like processed, like ultra processed foods. Although sometimes there are like some things, like there are some really good Trader Joe's things that I like to keep in the freezer because I'm like, okay, I know this has 30 grams of protein and like I can like take it out of the freezer when I come home and it's fine. You know, like if I'm traveling or whatever, like and just learning how to do that.
But plan for it.
Planning it.
And I think, I mean, just hearing you talk about it, we talk a lot about, you know, hard work. What does work look like? And I think, you know, everyone thinks hard work is like coming into the gym every day and burning it down and like this, you know, absolute intensity has to happen that way. But really like the hard work is just like the consistent effort to say like I'm meal prepping. The consistent effort to say like I'm packing my lunch. The consistent effort to say like we're not going out or, you know, and the little bits of hard work is really what kind of pulls the whole system together.
Totally.
And it's not glamorous.
No, it's not. And I don't know, do you know who Nick Bear is?
Mm-mm.
He's like, well, he's kind of been like the rise of the hybrid athlete guy.
Okay,
he's from Austin. He's really cool, actually. He's this huge dude, super muscly, can run under like a 2-hour marathon or whatever. Awesome. He has this really great saying that I love, which is, it's better to be consistently good than occasionally great.
Yeah. That's a great quote.
It's so good. And I like listened to a podcast he was on where he said this and I was like, oh yeah, like this is what matters, right? Like, and me, like, even if again, like going back to like, if I have a terrible day at the gym, I came to the gym and I took care of myself. You know, that alone. And like that, like over the course of a year, right? Like I divided like my total classes over time, like by 52, right? And I'm like 4.5 classes a week. right? That's awesome. And that doesn't even include the classes I did on vacation, which like, let alone, I never thought I'd be a person that worked out on vacation.
When you dropped in another gym?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I went to a box in Rome. I was at a conference in Rome. Yeah. And in Australia. So
okay.
like,
So when you went to foundations, did you ever think you'd be someone that would go and drop in at another affiliate?
No. And like, and I thought maybe I thought like I'd sign up and it wouldn't happen. And like, okay, I went twice, I think, when I was in Italy, but I was like, yeah, okay, I like went out of my way to find a box, pay for a box like for a week.
Pay for the taxi or whatever, how you get there.
Yeah, like planned my day around doing this. I never thought I would be a person that did that.
But to that whole point of like being consistently good, it's like those little extra moments of I gotta work for this and make this happen. Yeah, and you can reason through like I'm gonna pay however many euros to get in a cab to get there, and then I got to pay the drop-in fee and whatever it is. Those do add up, and they are like they fill the gaps where consistency would be wrecked, right?
Yeah, and I mean I always manage to come back to like from vacation or whatever work trip like right when it's test week, which is always like very funny.
Me too.
Yeah,
it's like a work trip during.
Yeah, I'm like great. Now I have to like sprint on this bike.
Totally.
But like I think the other thing too is like I also tell my friends I'm like I feel like I've hacked my brain. Like I know, like for example, like that's why I come to the gym at 4 or 5 because I'm not gonna. It's already hard enough for me to get to the gym, at least in the beginning, that I was like, I'm not going to try and come at 5:30, like in the morning. Right. I'm not going to do it. Like, I know that,
that's
right?
That's a good point.
Like, so I'm going to
come to the hour that you're like going to.
And I know that like I work the best, like intellectually for my job, like from roughly like 8 to 3. So it's like, okay. And by 4, I like can't think. So I'm like, I'm just going to go work out. Right. Like, so I did that. And then it actually like not the late fee, but like the not show up fee, right? When you're on a grad student salary, I'm like, I'm not paying $13, or whatever it is.
There's a motivational accountability factor that's in there.
Yeah, and then also like having people that are like looking forward to seeing you, right? Like coming back and Lindsay being like, where have you been? Like we missed you, you know? Or like someone be like, what's going on? Like we haven't seen you, or like, and not in a judgmental way, but in a way like we like having you here. Yeah, is really nice. So all those things I think mentally are really useful because they get at the like it's because it's the small things that get in the way. Like you'll take any excuse not to go to the gym, I think, right? Like sometimes, right? Like sometimes until you get over
exactly.
That. Yes. Yeah, and like I knew that about myself. Like and that took a long time. Like I was saying to someone the other day, I was like, man, like imagine like how great of a rower I would have been, for example, if I had started 10 years ago. Like, and then my friend was like, well, do you really think like if you had started CrossFit 10 years ago or 5 years ago or even 2 years ago, you would have kept doing it? And I was like, I don't know. Like, maybe not, right? Like, maybe I wasn't mentally...
Was it the thing?
Yeah.
You tried enough other things? Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Right? And, like, it was a lot... It's, like, a long mental journey and probably still will be, like, to get to this point where, like, learning all these lessons. But I think that it's... Yeah, all those little things, they add up in a really positive way.
Totally. Okay. 2 goals you have for yourself for this year.
Oh, yeah. Push up.
Okay.
Yeah, like first on my knees because I still can't do those, and then maybe a real one. We'll see. But definitely
totally
that.
Possible.
Yeah, totally possible. And then I think working on my stamina, like in terms of especially like running, squatting type things, where like I've gotten a lot better at running. I mean, like
yes, you have. I was in class with you with the 250 meter shuttle runs.
Yeah, totally. And like
holy moly.
Even my 5K time is down. Like I did a 5K a few years ago before I did CrossFit, and I think it was maybe like 38 or 40 minutes. It's at 32 minutes. I'm like, yeah. And if anything, like I wasn't even happy about the fact that it was 32 minutes. I was happy about the fact that I was like, I ran the same pace the whole time.
Yeah. Like you didn't feel like you were like
done. Like I ran a 10-minute mile basically, right? Like
awesome.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Huge.
And like those kinds of things. But I definitely think like there are workouts that I know are more fatiguing for me than others, right? Like lots of squatting and then lots of running is an example of those, and like working on that I think is another big goal that I have. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Anything you want to add?
No, this was really awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, so cool. Thanks
for doing this.
Thank you. So great.
All right, there you have it, guys.